Welcome to Beyond the Canopy, the podcast where we explore the most innovative approaches to ecosystem restoration and impact-driven investments. I'm your host, Alexander, and today we are traveling to the heart of Mexico. The Sierra Gorda Biosphere Reserve covers around 380,000 hectares and has incredibly diverse ecosystems, ranging from semi-arid deserts to cloud forests. But what makes this region truly unique is that 97% of its land is owned by the people who live there. It is the largest socially managed protected area on this planet. And to understand how all this has happened and to take learnings from this initiative, I'm joined by two extraordinary women who tirelessly care for the nature and the people living within, and who made this revolution happen. Pati, her full name is Marta Ruiz Corzo, is a former violinist and music teacher. She moved to the mountains and founded Grupo Ecológico Sierra Gorda almost 40 years ago, and has been recognized for her work as UN Champion of the Earth. And Laura, the full name Laura Burke Pérez-Arce, is the president and PR coordinator of Grupo Ecológico Sierra Gorda and the co-founder of Viva Sierra Gorda. She has spent over 27 years building the networks and carbon mechanisms that fund this conservation. So Pati and Laura, thank you for being here. A warm welcome.
Thank you for inviting us, Alex. A big hug from Sierra Gorda.
It's so nice to see you and also hear the background sounds from this place. And yeah, for me, it's not only a big honor to have you here on the podcast. For me, it's also a great pleasure to work with Grupo Ecológico Sierra Gorda for the past, I think, 3 years now. I've seen many restoration initiatives failing or fading out, but visiting Sierra Gorda, I could experience firsthand a dedicated community protecting, I would say, an amazing wealth of diverse nature. But before really turning to your personal journeys, I want to ask you to describe what it feels like being at Sierra Gorda Mountains, for example, in comparison to being in a big city like Mexico City.
Oh, opposite universes in many ways, even I would say different centuries. You know, it's really a different place. We in the Sierra Gorda, the largest population is around 35,000 people. That's Jalpan de Serra. So we really are mostly small ranches of less than 100 people, small villages. It's beautiful, beautiful landscape.
So let's go to the beginning. Pati, you were first a violinist at the Philharmonic Orchestra in Querétaro, as I read. And Laura, you worked at a major museum in New York. So you both left like the urban cultural space to live in a remote mountain range. So to you, Pati, was there a specific point, like a breaking point, when you knew you had to leave the city and go to nature?
Alex, I was since ever. I remember in my life looking for answers. Yeah. When I was 30, being a modern lady, I was empty and I was full of strength and with no cause. Mario, my son, had asthma. Both went, Roberto and Mario, my little boys, went to the school with me every morning, to the American school in Querétaro, and I was very against for the values they were getting there. And me as a teacher that was inside, it really give me trouble. Where do I want them to go to? What values are they going to have? What emptiness are they going to be? And then I have to honor the gender, Alex, because I have an extraordinary men team, Roberto and my two boys. We are such a good partners together. Yeah, I'm sure life put four of us here in Sierra Gorda to develop what we are doing now. They have their own experience and knowledge. Yeah, Roberto's conservation, ecological processes, point of view seem always the best. He can see what someone else knows. And Roberto, the father, he knows every plot in the reserve, and he has friends everywhere. He's from the region, and he's just a hiker. And he knows the mountains piece by piece.
Yeah.
Every mountain in Sierra Gorda. Without their knowledge or Mario's experience regenerating soils, it is such a big part, and to have the solidarity and to have the same love for Mother Nature. We fought the chaos as a family.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think your family really goes beyond, let's say, your physical family. So it is really expanded into the Sierra Gorda Mountains, right?
Ooh, I love every little piece of these mountains. My grandma used to tell me when I was trying to be nice to her, facts are love, not good talking, little girl. I don't know if I say it right, Laura.
Say it in Spanish.
Obras son amores y no buenas razones.
You were right. You were right.
Thank you, Pati. So I would say you made this decision and now you feel home in this place. So that's really your home. And I want to turn to you, Laura. Why did you leave New York in the first place and join Grupo? And how did you and Pati begin working so closely?
I was in the Smithsonian's National Museum of American Indian doing research and had been in archaeology and in cultural management for about 9 years and realized I needed to work for life. I needed to work for nature. And my gut told me that I needed to be in an organization that was really organic to its place. And when one of my mentors told me that there was going to be an event, he said, tomorrow you have to be in Washington, D.C. because Ashoka is going to bring together 13 social entrepreneurs in conservation. I'm like, what's an entrepreneur? Social entrepreneur. And so I offered to be a translator and a volunteer. And Pati was one of those fellows. And we really didn't have a chance to talk until the very last day. And she told me about these mountains and the women participating, all of the schools participating. And we were laughing through the whole breakfast. And it was, extraordinary to receive an invitation to join Grupo Ecológico.
That's a really nice story. And Laura, if you look back, was it hard to adjust from, let's say, New York's urban culture to this region, to total different setting in the Sierra Gorda Mountains?
I think I'd always been happiest in wild settings, and it just felt like coming home to me in many ways. And it was October, so all of the sides of the mountains coming into this mountain range were just golden with wildflowers. It was very magical, and I've stayed in that state ever since I've been here.
Yeah. So once you have arrived, you didn't just do restoration work, Pati. You had to negotiate and fight. So you had to navigate, I would say also to some extent, traditional male-dominated society and industrial interests. So, and what I read is that you famously blocked a major highway and a dam project from cutting through the heart of the reserve. So what does it mean to be in such a situation?
We had 10 years already of formal work of Grupo Ecológico Sierra Gorda when we got the decree as a biosphere reserve of this territory. We are the only biosphere reserve in Mexico, protected area, that has promoted and looked for the ways to make it happen. Many travels to Mexico City, bringing in the biologists to justify to justify the value, the biological value of the region, and integrate the files and go back and until we got in the 97 a decree as a biosphere reserve. Since then, I was appointed by Mr. Cedillo, the president at that time. It is the only biosphere reserve in Mexico where a local leader is going to be the director. Yeah, and not someone that we send from central offices to the region. And since then, we began a co-management model among the federal program from National Commission of Protected Areas and our territory. Being me, the director, the federal director, it was like a sheriff for the region. Yeah, and it was a pleasure. Yeah, and I thank God that I was young and I have the strength to fight against all those interests, not of the corporates or industry, no, from public works. Oh, impossible things in Sierra Gorda. But I, as a director, had the opportunity to say no. And it was a very fighting time, yeah, against biggest federal public
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
But we established very clear that it is a conservation area in Mexico. Yeah, a natural treasure of the Mexican patrimony. And that here many things are not allowed. Yeah, we have to deal with this treasure with all the care and conservation point of view. That's why we promote a biosphere reserve to
Yeah.
have this law protecting our
Yeah.
territory.
Yeah, but basically, Pati, you had to protect the law as well, right? Because there were still there were still some interests that did not respect these laws, and so what kept you strong? So because I think it's a strong battle in some time. So what kept you motivated?
The absolute understanding that what we are protecting is sacred. And I'm not a modern lady. I am a wild boar.
Yeah.
Strength and stubborn, and I may get very mad. Yeah. And I know the strength of my team together. Yeah, because first we began all this fighting. We found Mother Nature.
Okay.
And you understand what it is true in life.
Yeah.
That's what it kept us.
Yeah.
Yeah. On the way. And I was the right person to give face for that. Yeah, but it is on the past, Alexander. It was established and we had to fight for many, many years, a decade, to establish that. Now small things are happening everywhere, no? We are 638 communities. Oh my God. Yeah, the little things. And we are also enforcement, the law.
Yeah.
And enforcement, the institutions.
Yeah.
Yeah, supporting them in many ways to the federal institutions to make they work.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say you've really made a lot of progress over these years. I want to ask you, Laura. So you also saw these external challenges to the land, and can you describe how they have impacted the internal culture of Grupo Ecológico Sierra Gorda, so of the team? So what has this done with the team? So these challenges for protecting the reserve.
I think it's created a group of very resilient nucleus because there's many people within Grupo Ecológico who have been here for more than a decade, who are really the DNA of that social network in different sectors. And so I think we've become stronger and know what our purpose is.
I think with Grupo you have achieved really something outstanding there, and I know as you explained it, also as Pati explained it, it could only happen because I think the team really has been in love with the land and the people and the local culture.
And that's really critical. It's the people that are from here principally that are participating, and the organization has always been in the headquarters is in Jalpan de Serra, which is a major point of the society here in the Sierra Gorda region. And so that relationship that Pati was referring to, that Roberto knows through his different family members, as well as the growing up here and having so many different people who are concerned about the Sierra Gorda, that's what really created the Grupo Ecológico, or local concerned citizens, and that continues to be the case.
Maybe frame it a little bit in a different way and ask you, Pati. So you have been a music teacher. You worked a lot with the communities. Has the music helped you to get access to the people and also plant the seeds of these initiatives within the hearts of the people?
Yeah, thousands and thousands of them. They have been singing with us since the beginning. At the beginning, I had a group of volunteers from a secondary school. And we went to the schools to recite papers and to explain the differences and to talk about this civic participation. And everyone was waiting for Pati, for Maestra Pati to appear with her accordion. And I was always a very happy and crazy teacher for the little ones. Then I used to play. Ooh, we had such a fun. And after say, yeah. And everyone, yeah. And then we sang. And we sang because we are serranos, because we give thanks to life, because the shiny leaves on the trees, and because we have bluebirds. Ooh, we have bluebirds. Ooh. Yeah, let's sing. And then we raised a wave of love. I don't know who says who that if you are singing, it's like praying twice.
Mhm.
When you pray singing, I may tell you that it got very high energy of recognition of the territory. In the middle of the mountains, in a backyard in the school, you could make magic.
As you know, explain it, and I think the success clearly shows it. I'm also curious because being with the people and creating this understanding and deep love for nature is one thing, but very practically speaking, how could you convince, let's say, a struggling farmer who's looking for some money to make his living, to go onto this path and maybe also lose some profits that you would had with cattle farming or logging. So how do you, let's say, convert this, let's say, connection into something that's also economically valuable for the farmers and the local people?
We began with environmental education
Mhm.
39 years ago. Since then, we have been visiting the schools, organizing festivals, organizing community day works, cleaning campaigns, all the time,
Yeah.
and go back and go back and go back, year after year, 40 years of embroidered
Yeah.
environmental education, through the
Yeah.
radio, through murals, to science, to everyone. And in a very happy way, always singing, always with beautiful didactic materials,
Yeah.
and bringing joy to the communities and empowerment. 39 years after, we have developed an ecological regional awareness
Mhm.
and civic participation attitude from
Yeah.
the inhabitants.
Yeah.
New skills, to offer new products based in your patrimony.
Yeah.
The cooks, horrible kitchens, horrible practices, of sanitation and many little details. Then we have developing with them the capacities to give a good tourist service to become a tourist provider.
Yeah,
But
ecotourism.
how can you move inside those uses that have been for generations? With love, Alex. With love, little by little,
Yeah,
little by little. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. That's
making them to feel proud that they have a shiny toilet.
yeah,
Uy, qué baño precioso.
yeah,
Uy, amiga, esto is going to bring you new customers. Lots of love and patience.
yeah,
That's how embroidering little actions
yeah,
all the time, the communities, and then you move them until they have new skills.
yeah,
The pottery, the embroidery, the herbal remedies, the cheeses, all the little things, oregano products
yeah,
that you give value to their knowledge
yeah,
because they are excellent cooks.
yeah,
That's the property
yeah,
they have, no?
yeah,
Then you give value if you improve the conditions of their places and you improve then little by little doing all this better action, this rehabilitation of the spaces and equipment. God, I have so many projects,
yeah,
hundreds of projects, Alex.
yeah,
And everyone's they come to Sierra Gorda like if I would be the Aladdin lamp. Maestra Pati, queremos cambiar el techo. Maestra Pati, they need a new roof, they need a new treatment for the water, or many little things to improve their
yeah,
conditions, their skills, the equipment, and empowership.
yeah.
Yeah, I
And
mean, it's incredible. And
and
just give me a second.
yeah, sorry.
That's the cherry. That's the cherry of my cake. To feel the empowerment,
Yeah,
to know that they are making money, that they are growing inside, it gives me such a pleasure, Alexander.
I believe.
That's the cherry of my cake. And I
Yeah,
have many friends with many projects, and we are pushing a whale. Yeah, a virtuous whale that is generating wellness for them and happiness too.
yeah.
And I am part of it. Yeah, feeling a lot of joy. And thanks to life that had given us the opportunity to develop this tapestry.
What I want to ask Laura also, because Pati, you described how you brought education and ideas for local business so that the people really can evolve and develop. But you also managed to bring money from the Querétaro government tax money to the mountains to work to protect. I want to ask you, Laura, how does the carbon offset mechanism, the Carbono Biodiverso that you have co-developed with the state of Querétaro, practically secure long-term economic security for the local families and farmers?
Well, it's a project that we have over 41,000 hectares of area here within the Sierra Gorda Biosphere Reserve that are within a inventory that has been approved and verified by the state government in order to participate in their low emissions seal, which is this project of a carbon tax to the companies that are situated within, that operate within the state of Querétaro. And that impact of the people who own the most high biodiversity areas now having a value, a profitability for that, the well-being of that ecosystem changes the mindset of their own capital.
Mhm.
That landscape has become a part of the economy of the household, and we're in a region where the communities primarily depend on remittances that have been greatly affected by all of the chaos that's happening in the United States. And so we really need to value what are those rural lifeways that are sustainable over time and that have a much greater impact. These healthy ecosystems all within one region are creating clouds. They're allowing us to have the wildlife within a habitat that over time, we're seeing within the camera traps. Just a month ago, there had been, I believe, 4 years without seeing big cats on the cameras, and we saw a puma and a jaguar. These are extraordinary places, and they're our last reserves, and we are fortunate to be able to have this financing mechanism in place, and we hope to have it over the long term. And it's really part of the private sector also having the pride and having the contact with the Sierra Gorda in order to appreciate that this is something that is a world heritage that we have to protect. It's all of ours.
Yeah. So, Laura, maybe you can say a few words why this Carbono Biodiverso is so special, and why you have selected to develop this one and not just take one of the existing standards.
Because the existing standards have maintained the Sierra Gorda outside all of the time, on the fringe, because we are in a region that is extremely fractioned among private property owners versus ejidos. If I can give the context, we're within about 1 million acres, 384,000 hectares, and there's 630 communities here within the region. And those are the landowners of everything except for 3%, which is federal land. And that is a region without any major industry. And so we have a very high, state of looking at how the program can have a much greater impact. It's a program that has the financing available for the operation of mitigation, not only in the immediate area of those properties, but also in the greater region of the bioregion, Sierra Gorda.
Yeah. So I also read that the major mechanism of this Carbono Biodiverso is really to fence forests, so to prevent cattle going in there, eating up the biomass and destroying the biodiversity. That's basically the kind of mechanism. And I also understood that Carbono Biodiverso is, as you described, much more accessible for the local communities, also as smallholders with maybe not officially registered land use rights. So it's much more inclusive. Is that correct?
It is, and we have the people in the field to be able to make the monitoring and verification something that is absolutely real, that we know that that's happening and can verify it. And Pati, you can talk about the standard itself.
Thank you, Laura. The global standards doesn't ground. They don't have earth on their feet. Yeah, they are not standing on the soil. They were reading for, I don't know where conditions, the conditions from where. Because not for the extreme poverty, not for the South. Before we got to have a local protocol that is a lobbying protocol for the landowners, for the forest owners. So they will work. It works. We were many parts of the world trying to ground those global protocols, and viable, so expensive, the requirements so out of place. But in spite of everything, we came to Sierra Gorda and ground a global seal from BCS and CBS.
CCB.
Community by the
CCB.
CCB. Yeah, and we got the first gold standard for a small communities project. Yeah, and we got it through our small plantations, pine, small plantations, 25 years of their life. And in the year 2014, after we got this standard, they began getting sick with bark bottle creek, and we lost the half of them, my certified product. Yeah. But the rest of the possibility for regeneration, they were excluded. They don't have a protocol for those conditions.
Right.
And me, as the federal manager of the area, you see there a huge possibility to recuperate ecosystems. but they didn't have the protocol. Then we decided to go forward and to develop a local protocol, not for the markets,
Mhm.
for a public politics, that it is where it belongs, like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, with a protocol in the context of the forest landowners.
Yeah.
And we wanted to put the money in their pockets, not in the pockets of a developer.
Yeah.
That's a big difference, and that's the
Yeah.
virtual circle that we are implementing in Sierra Gorda, because all the revenues, Alex, they go to conservation and regeneration processes for water, for soil, for society. Yeah, catching water, recycling materials, oregano management, small workshops, many projects in the communities. Then instead of putting that money, those profits, in businesses or something else,
Yeah.
we are reinvesting those revenues in the social objective of our NGO, as
Yeah.
it was in our legal constitution.
Yeah.
And you may not take the revenues. That's the virtuous part of our protocol.
Yeah.
And that's why Carbono Biodiverso, it is much more than carbon. It
Yeah.
means social and ecological returns.
Yeah. Yeah. And exactly, Pati, you totally agree. So when I looked up some statistics of the global carbon market and standards, there's only 10, I think, to 40% is really going to the ground. 10 to 40% of the money that's made with these carbon offsets is going to the ground. And I don't know the exact numbers of you, but I think it's beyond 70, 80% of the carbon offsets that go to work on the ground. So, and there's no big middleman in place that takes out the money. So therefore, just that more money is flowing to the people. I think it makes it much better, inclusive, and I think also for the politicians that implement such law in Querétaro. So, as a company that has a factory in Querétaro, they have to pay carbon taxes at a certain amount of emissions. And it's also nice to see, for example, if you're a manufacturer of whatever, your emissions get compensated also locally in local environmental projects. I think that's also a nice thing if you can, are not buying, I don't know, carbon credits from kangaroo project in Australia. So local companies should be also giving money to local conservation. I think that's really, I would say it's really a great success of how local conservation and the policy sector really worked hand in hand here.
Alex, we were very fortunate to have made this alliance with the subnational government of Querétaro State. Yeah, we found the right person. We came with experience and a good idea. Yeah, already an AMA, registered in UNFCCC, and all those procedures done. And we approached the government of the states since 12 years ago that we began this process. Yeah, with three different governors, with persistent. And I have met wonderful local partners in the government. Wow.
Yeah.
With the CEDESU, Secretaría de Desarrollo Sustentable, all my recognition. They put the finance for my dreams.
When I visited you, I can recall, so we had this workshop session at your place, and suddenly the environmental minister of Querétaro, Marco del Prete, appeared. I said, okay, what is he doing here in Querétaro? And then I later found out that the environmental minister has been a student of you, Pati. Is that correct?
Yeah, and you know, Alex, our success is because the providence is in my board of directors.
Mm-hmm.
Things are there, waiting to make the magic come.
Yeah.
And I had another student. The water government programs in the state was also my student. and the Minister of Tourism. We were with her mom.
Close friends.
So I had such a good relation with, but it's not woven by me.
Yeah.
It's a providence.
Yeah. But it also tells a little bit that education, environmental education, goes a long way. No? So
yeah, because you are against everything, no? The consumption, the heaviness. No, you have to put life in everywhere.
Yeah.
Life, ways to make it happen. Yeah, if you say a cleaning campaign is because you are going to have a truck, you are going to have sacks, we are going to have protection for the people that comes with you to pick up garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to give the idea and the ways to make it happen.
Yeah.
If not, it's just an idea.
And Laura, a question to you. What is the system behind your success, and what would it take to expand this model to other regions or neighboring provinces, potentially to Mexico or other countries? What is like the most important ingredient you would say? Is it something that you can repeat in another place, or is it just something that's very unique to Querétaro? So I'm just asking this because if other organizations are listening to it, so what can they take and learn from this conversation? Yeah.
Oh, I think it's a chance. We've always known that we have to pursue every opportunity that presents itself. Here's an opportunity of a proven model of how you can work, of a local civil society organization, a local grassroots organization that can work with the state government through an agency that has this regulation authority over the private sector, and be able to have their relationship in a very positive, constructive way to say that we are all going to be contributing towards the climate health of our state. And the community networking and the relationships over the long term with the people here from the Sierra Gorda only through a local grassroots organization. So there are certain things within this toolbox that are required. You have to have those local roots and that persistence and that constance in order to be able to have a working network, to have the trust to enter into something as innovative as being required with your notebook to go and walk your property that is within this system and be recognizing the wildlife signs. It's a very different mindset than being a rancher who has extensive cattle and is going out to find where the cattle have gone in order to round them up. It's a very inclusive in many different ways. This is a model of working across sectors, between sectors, and with the local community members in as a transparent a way as possible. And with that balance of going towards the most valuable part of this chain is the nature and the high biodiversity that we can preserve and restore.
Yeah, nice. So if, for example, other organizations, the neighbor states or other similar organizations come to you, so they can learn basically the social fabric, so how you are organized, what kind of programs you're running, and maybe they can also learn from your local carbon protocol. So I think you had a lot of learnings, as Pati also described, with the BCS, CCB gold standard, and finally you ended up building your own locally adapted native carbon protocol that's now working very successful in your place. But I think from this process, other organizations can learn a lot. So when I went to Sierra Gorda, I just been there one time, and if you drove along the motorway, in the beginning it was a little bit dirty, so there was a lot of garbage. But at a certain point, when you reached the mountains, the Sierra Gorda mountains, it was all clean. Some people call it also the Swiss of Mexico, and I cannot 100% point everything to your educational program and your work, but I really have the feeling that there is an awareness in this region for the environment, which is different and created also a different kind of environment. So if you now would look back, Pati, so on the work you had, and if you look at the young people of today, do you think in your region they are more receptive to environmental values than they were when you started?
Yeah, of course. Of course. And now that I have the word, I want to encourage, if anyone is listening this podcast and are interested in doing environmental education, we have a virtual diploma course, that you may take to the region. And for the local protocol, we are having a national workshop with the National Commission of Protected Areas, in Sierra Gorda soon, Alex. They are completely willing to replicate this financing and conservation mechanism in other biosphere reserves in the country. We are closer of the big dream that it has not happened yet, when we are replicating these lines of action that can be replicated anywhere where there is a local NGO with passion and permanence and love for the territory. It has been made to be replicated. Any of our lines of action. We have the tools, and we wanted to have, just to clarify.
We can also put all these additional information later in the show notes so that other people can find it and look it up, and also look into your internet site and into the new Carbono Biodiverso website, so to get also connected with you. So we're slowly closing, but really before we wrap up, I have some final questions. So I'll start with you, Pati. What do you think is the future you envisage for Sierra Gorda? And what would you tell a young woman who wants to follow you?
I think that it's our best time. It's the best time to recuperate the women's love and intuition and willing to work and to be at the front of this regeneration process. I see a Serrano society moving by itself, with local teachers pushing for collective actions and authorities that had been ecological children. Yes, it's happening now, Alex. Yeah, many migrants, they were ecological boys in the past. We have generations of this awareness, and now it is a consciousness that it's at the favor of working for the territory. And that's the way I see Sierra Gorda, with sanitation, with education, with regeneration work, with value, economic value for the scenic beautiness, and for the scenic beauty, and for the carbon capture of the forest. Yeah, I know that we are just a bean, but if we have enough beans converging in this place, we have the duty of Sierra Gorda to be the most loved place in Mexico. Since here we have the duty of beat with love, that our tools, love, persistence, loyalty, wealth for everyone, happiness for everyone, letting it flow, the blessings of life and Mother Nature. It's pure love in so many ways, and so wisdom. Let's reconnect. We believe that regeneration begins by the society recuperating your entities. When you find Mother Nature, you are not an orphan anymore.
Yeah.
You connect with the truth, what it is, real, nature, life, and it gives you the way, a new way. And I see a Sierra Gorda in that path. Yeah, I will do as much as I can. And the rest of it is, as always, in the Providence hands.
Thank you very much, Pati. So, yeah, one can say, just to recap, it's it has been the past 40 years have been a lot of effort, but on the other hand, they are, as I see it from your eyes, it's really also a fulfilling time, because you moved so many people, you made basically Sierra Gorda, you helped Sierra Gorda to become a nicer, more beautiful place. Yeah. I want to have a final question to Laura, which is really practical, because of course this initiative needs support. How can people support Grupo? How can people support Sierra Gorda? I know we have the compliance carbon offsets. Is there also a possibility for organizations, companies to support Grupo directly?
Absolutely. As we've been talking about, and thank you, Alex. Grupo Ecológico is an organization that has been successful, but we are constantly fighting for that funding that's necessary in order for the impact to not only happen within the areas where we are, but for it to expand. And for that to happen from generation to generation and from school year to school year. And so with the support that we have now, it's because of spending every free minute in writing proposals and looking for the calls for papers. When Sierra Gorda as a bioregion is off the map, it's not in the hotspots that are traditionally funded, So we would ask anyone who is interested in having a philanthropic return on investment that is with social impact and economic impact and inspiration as an impact and a long-term trajectory towards the resilience and sustainability that we need for our rural high biodiversity areas. We need partners that have that vision and want to have a planet that is healthy, that is just, that is passionate about nature. And we know that through these different tools, if it's the diploma course with teachers that is applicable to rural teachers across the Americas, help us to reach those people so that there are more teachers that have these tools for them to operate with, and school systems to operate with, as we're working within the public education system here. And working with other NGOs and other natural protected areas is really what we would like to be able for them to jump over this learning curve. We've already invested, we've found all of those holes in the system, and we've built a new structure. And it's a viable structure that with the network across systems is synergy towards that flow that Patti was talking about. So yes, I would ask that either corporate or individuals look to Sierra Gorda as a spiritual investment in what is our wild earth.
Thank you very much, also Laura. We're coming to an end. Is there anything else you want to say to our listeners?
Yo les recomiendo reconectar con la Madre Tierra. Es el gran placer de la vida, no los pequeños placeres modernos. El gran placer es reconectarte con lo que es. Entonces, sean rebeldes. Sorry, I have been talking in Spanish.
Muy bien. We can translate. It was coming from the heart. So
it is a time to awake. It is a time to be brave. It is a time to go back to our spirituality. Inside us, the world is horrible. It's a horrible drama. Let's be part of the hope. Yeah? Let's look for the good, for the real, for the love. It is not modern values, but they work and worth. So let's practice them. It is not time to be one more in the system. Sorry.
So, Alex, we didn't really speak about the collaboration with OpenForests, and I'd like to include that within the podcast.
You're welcome. Yeah.
We as you said, we met, I believe it was 4 years ago, and it was really a very fortuitous and very natural connection that we had, our team with your team at OpenForests. And because of the experience that you had come from, Alex, we were speaking on the same level about how the carbon standards were excluding so many people and were not allowing for opportunities for financing to these areas that are on the frontier with wildlife. And so, the Grupo had already had since 1991, when the reforestations that had been taking place in Sierra Gorda first considered carbon as a value in those reforestations. The sophistication over those years had reached a limit within the available technology. We'd sort of come to a place where we needed to have a much more sophisticated tool. And that's the space that OpenForests walked into, and it's been both a learning and a very strategic alliance.
Thank you, Laura, for mentioning it. Of course, we have a deep understanding of working with projects over the past 15 years, and we see that some of this, let's say, market-driven mechanism are not fully covering the needs of the local projects. And for me, it was really a relief, I have to say, to see a working project that not try to, let's say, somehow work towards these kind of official mandatory standards, but that said, okay, this standard is not working for us. Let's build a new one that works better for us. So I think that's a very inspiring example of self-empowerness, right? So it's not that a consultant has come to you and said, okay, use this standard in that or that way. You said, we want to use, we need to have a different kind of protocol that better works for us, that is inclusive for the landowners, that channels more money to the people, and which is not speculative. So I think we also haven't mentioned it, that carbon credits sometimes used for speculations, that people buy them and then they trade them. In the case of the Carbono Biodiverso, you buy an offset, you're not buying a carbon credit. And we are super proud that we could jointly with you develop this carbon registry for such a very innovative local carbon protocol that now brings real money at work. So thank you for this partnerships.
Thank you. No, and I think that we, as a team between Grupo Ecológico Sierra Gorda and OpenForests, really are presenting a system that is a game changer for many different actors in this space, because we're taking into account on the landscape the different ecosystems and their specific carbon values and their state of wellness over the years, and that be a part of a living ecosystem of reporting an inventory of carbon per year. And so this is something that, that with the software, the Registro Carbono Biodiverso, other NGOs or other local governments can implement immediately with those different characteristics already within a protocol to be implemented.
Yeah, that would be really amazing if, let's say, this collaboration could also put a seed of how to scale more fair, human-centric, biodiverse carbon beyond the Sierra Gorda mountains, right? So to really let it flow and let it cover the world. So with more local adapted carbon protocols, and this is why we are here. So. Thank you very much for taking the time to share your insights and wisdom. To our listeners, conservation only works when it's driven by a caring community. While economic incentives are crucial, we must foster a deeper understanding of the long-term value that nature provides. So we have to ensure we don't jeopardize nature's abundance and essential service for a quick return. So communities have the power to build sustainable and economically viable systems, but only, I would say, when we work together. So thank you for listening to Beyond the Canopy.
Deep
That's it.
thanks, Alex, from the heart of Sierra Gorda. You have been the architects of this structure, this transparency, and that's essential part of our offer. Thank you for all your team.
Yeah.
A big kiss for them.
Muchas
Amigo,
gracias.
¿quién dijo que todo está perdido? Yo vengo a entregar mi corazón.